All glories to all your services, Mataji. Thank you so much for joining the call and welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago, and thank you very much Mataji for reciting the chapter 9 Bhagavad Gita very beautifully. Thank you, and thanks for your services to Bhakti Sanga.
Hare Krishna, Yasumati Priya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to all your services, Mataji. Thank you very much for joining the call and welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Mataji, Dandavat pranams to you and all assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Uma from Oregon. Thank you Mataji for your beautiful chanting. Very beautiful.
Hare Krishna, Uma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining the call today and welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anyone else who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances, Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta. Thank you, Sushmita Mataji, for your warm welcome. Thanks for the beautiful chant.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to all your services, Mataji. Thank you very much for joining the call. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the assembled devotees. This is Revati from Atlanta, Mataji. Thank you so much for the beautiful recitation of the Bhagavad Gita and the chanting, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Revati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and thank you, Mataji, for the beautiful chanting, and welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, we can start. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call today. Today we are Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Sanga Japa conference call. Today we are so fortunate to have His Grace Achintya Gopesh Prabhuji to enlighten us on the topic of Sri Caitanya Bhagavata Madhya khanda 10.148 to 10 chapter 148 sloka to 157. Before handovering the call, I would like to read today's quote of Srila Prabhupada. So today is 8th May and here is the quote. Hare Krishna, you have to make it public that I am going to have Garbhadana Sanskara. It is not a secret thing. It is a ceremony. And then when she is pregnant, no more sex. No more sex means so long the child is there, 10 months, and unless the child is grown up at least 6 months, no sex. That means once you have sex and abstain for 16 months. Rishikesa, May 8, 1977. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Is Mataji, is Prabhuji is there on the call? So I cannot see Prabhu. Is Prabhuji there on the call, Mataji? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay. Oh, we can chant when Prabhuji is ready. We can welcome him. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vāsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Namacharya Haridas Thakur Tujhe Bhakti Dev Narayana Ki Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada
Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Ram Hare Ram
Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna
Ram
Hare Hare
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your valuable time and association to this mid-morning. Now I will hand over the call to you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to today's session on Caitanya Bhagavat, where we are speaking on the conclusions of the Mahaprakash Leela. So welcome everyone. We'll start with prayers and then we will begin. Om Ajnanatimirānandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauravata Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः जयतां सुरतोपंगो ममवते गतिः मत् सर्वस्वपादाम्बोजो राधा मदन Hare Krishna. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Just give me 1 second. Right. So I'll just share the screen. So today we are discussing from Caitanya Bhagavata Madhya Leela 10.148 to 157, conclusion of Lord's Mahaprakash pastimes. So we will start from text 148. Sirachedi bhaktiyena karena dashanana namanye raghunatha shivera karanam. The 10-headed Ravana worshipped Shiva with devotion and disrespected Ramchandra. As a result, his heads were severed from his body. We'll read few verses and then we will discuss. Antera chadila Shiva sena jane Shiva vyartha haila maila swamshe pudiyam. He did not know that Lord Shiva rejected from his heart. Lord Shiva rejected him from his heart. Therefore, Ravana's service was fruitless and he was burned to death along with his family. Balamanda Shiva kichu bangiya na kaya yara buddhi take sei chitte bujilaya. Lord Shiva does not reveal what is good and bad for someone, but one who has intelligence can understand. So these 3 verses we will first discuss, and then we will go into the next few verses. As you know, we are discussing the Mahaprakash Leela and the conclusion. And within that, here the conclusions are given about the conversations with Advaita Acharya and the position of Advaita Acharya and the position of Lord Chaitanya, and we are discussing that. And we will elaborate on this subject matter today. Just give me 1 second to Are you able to see the PPT?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, good. So we have discussed in the previous lectures how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela can be seen in many ways. And one of the ways is how it is an extension of the pastimes of Srimad Bhagavatam, and how it is an sort of an epilogue. And we have in the past discussed how multiple devotees, we have discussed specifically on Lord Nityananda and many other devotees, on what are the desires that in the previous Leelas which were remaining, which were fulfilled in the Chaitanya Leela. So when we are discussing about Advaita Acharya, we know he is Mahavishnu and also Sadashiva, the Lord Shiva who resides in the eternal Dham of Sadashiva Loka. And accordingly, there are certain desires that is being fulfilled in this particular Leela. So, you know that in Bhagavatam we have seen Mahavishnu specifically has two prominent desires. One desire is to see the Lord, and there is this entire pastime of how he bewilders Arjuna, and Arjuna vows to protect the sons of the Brahmana, and those sons are kidnapped, and they actually die when they are born. And to fulfill Arjuna's promise, Krishna goes with him on the chariot, goes beyond the coverings of the universe, and then they come to Lord Mahavishnu, where Mahavishnu, who's very eager, gets the darshan of Lord Krishna. And then there is a conversation. Right? Now, therein we see that while Mahavishnu is a part and parcel of Krishna, is Vishnu Tattva, still each of these part and parcels have a specific function. So as Narayana, he is the officiating. It's almost like we have already discussed this. We know that Lord Narayana is like being in the office, and Krishna is being in the home, right? In an office, there might be, or in a kingdom, there might be a very big king, and he might be sitting in the throne. He will order, things will happen, and everybody knows him as the king. He salutes. But when he is at home, nobody calls him God, and he completely intimately associates with his near and dear ones. And therefore, Gaudiya Vaishnavas see that it is the original person who is at home, who is not called God, but is actually God, because of his desire, everything happens. And when he comes to Vaikuntha, he becomes Narayana and becomes the officiating. This debate is there among Vaishnavas: Narayana the original, or Krishna is the original? And Gaudiya Vaishnava is very clear that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and because of his desire, everything works. So Mahavishnu is very keen. Mahavishnu's multiple levels below expansion of Narayana. And then Mahavishnu desires to see the original person, Krishna. So that is one desire that he has. And the other is Mahavishnu, from him emanates the entire material creation. So the purpose of this creation is to reform the fallen souls. And when he sees that the fallen souls are going away from Dharma and they are not going to be reformed, then he specifically prays, or he descends, or in certain times he prays to the original Lord Krishna to descend. And same was the case in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, when Advaita Acharya, seeing the situation of the state of affairs in Kali Yuga, he personally requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to descend. So these two desires of seeing the Supreme Personality of God at the original form, protecting the universe, all these desires are manifested in different pastimes of Chaitanya Leela with Advaita Acharya, which we have seen in the past. And then, as Sadashiva, there was always this desire that he was instructed. Sadashiva assumes, Sadashiva is also when you come as Lord Shiva in this universe, he takes association with the mode of ignorance, and Shiva and Parvati are the Shiva and Durga are the real coordinators of this jail. So if in the jail there is a jailer and somebody managing the jail, that's Shiva and Parvati. But it is a guna incarnation of the Lord, we know that. But as a guna incarnation of the Lord Shiva has to sometimes play the role of appearing like the supreme person, because in the jail, they don't talk about the president or the prime minister. The people in the jail are really averse to the government. So the jailer acts like he's the supreme authority, and he maintains that entire power and control over. So also Lord Shiva has to perform this activity of appearing like the supreme controller, which is why it's called Parameshwara. And also, as Shankaracharya and others, he had to preach Mayavada, which is coveted form to take people away from the Lord. And this is specifically done on the order of the Lord, and the reasons for which you know very well, because the Lord wanted to establish the pure devotional service. But Lord Shiva was always feeling that somewhere, the Lord should chastise me for preaching this wrong message, so-called wrong message, even though it was done according to his order. And he always wanted to establish that Krishna is the supreme. So also we saw the pastime where Advaita Acharya, you will see that he preaches Mayavada, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and actually punishes him and kicks him in the chest. So like that, in many of the Chaitanya Leela pastimes, the hidden desires of the previous pastimes are fulfilled in the Chaitanya Leela. So from that perspective, what happens is we see that Chaitanya Leela is kind of an epilogue, an extension of the pastimes. Right? Now, the important thing in these set of slokas, here clearly it is said that if on seeing these pastimes of Lord Shiva, if somebody, or seeing the pastimes of Advaita Acharya, if somebody regards Advaita Acharya to be equal to or greater than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then it becomes an offense. And anybody who worships Lord Shiva and does not respect the Supreme Personality of Godhead will definitely not succeed in his endeavors and will definitely be eventually destroyed. This is the message that is being discussed. And the second message, which is discussed, is specifically with respect to Chaitanya Leela, the propagation of the entire Prakrita Sahajya is also discussed. So we'll discuss both of these two topics. In the first verse, it is spoken about Ravana, and we know very well that Ravana sort of personified, though he was ultimately a devotee, but in this Leela he personified the fact that he had his 10 offenses, and supreme among them was his lust. And because of his lust, and you will see this consistently among multiple non-devotees, because of their lust and their pride, they believe that by just satisfying the jailer, I can get all facilities in the jail and I can become the supreme authority of the jail. So they usually do penance and they try to worship Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu they see as biased against them, and Lord Vishnu they don't accept. They accept Lord Shiva and they usually worship him and try to get some material benefits. But in the case of Ravana, like Ravana, many demons have shown that while they are worshipping, it is not because of devotion. It is largely, to fulfill their desires. So we know the story of Ravana, how he was playing the drums for Lord Shiva to dance, and Lord Shiva became very pleased. Then he tried to uproot the entire mountain, Kailasha, on which Lord Shiva was sitting, and he got punished. He even had the audacity to cast an eye on the personality of goddess Parvati and go against Lord Shiva, because of which he was again doing offense to Lord Shiva. So while they are trying to worship, it is actually their lust and their pride due to which they do a show of devotion. And exactly because of that, they don't want to become servants of Lord Vishnu. They don't want to come to the mode of goodness, get beyond this greed, anger, lust, pride, and so on and so forth, and actually surrender into Lord Ramchandra. So they disrespect the Vaishnavas and Vishnu. And when that disrespect of Vaishnava and Vishnu happens, they miss one important point, a very important point, that what are the things they miss? What things they don't understand between the relationship between Vishnu and Shiva, and what are the things they miss understand from a Vaishnava's perspective? Can somebody share? There are a few important things they misunderstand or they don't fully realize. What are the things they don't realize when somebody starts worshipping Shiva and believes that Shiva is the supreme and starts to disrespect Vishnu and Vaishnavas? Any suggestions? I always ask questions to sort of storm the topic. Okay.
It's offense.
Yes, sorry.
It's offense.
Offense, yes. It is an offense, yes. What is that they don't understand about the relationship between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu? Lord Krishna and Shiva? Yes, first, one point
He's
that is
not
being
equal.
made. Sorry, come again. Hare Krishna.
As it is mentioned in the offenses of holy name, it's Lord Shiva or other demigods are not equal to Krishna.
Yes. So that offense, yes, definitely there they consider Lord Shiva to be in the same level as Lord Vishnu or higher. That is certainly there. But the one thing they miss is actually Lord Shiva is executing the desire of Lord Vishnu or the desire of Krishna. Krishna doesn't want to reveal himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead to people who don't have devotion and who are full of lust, greed, and anger. And hence, in the with connection with Tamogun, Lord Shiva appears as the supreme controller to bewilder these people. So these demons think that if I worship this person, then I can become greater than the Lord Vishnu, or I can get everything that I want, without understanding that actually Lord Shiva is meditating on Sankarsana, who's part and parcel of Krishna, and without understanding that if Lord Shiva is doing something, that is because of the desire of Lord Vishnu. Or in another sense, if somebody thinks that I can bribe the jailer and I can become bigger than the president of the country, then that is foolishness. Because while the jailer appears to be the supreme controller of the jail, the president is the controller of everything, and the jailer is actually acting under the control and desire of the president. So to think that I will make the jailer my friend and defeat the president is foolishness. And when such disrespect happens, then this happens, which is what is happening. Lord Shiva rejected this person. The whole reason why Lord Shiva is presiding over this particular universe is to reform these demons. And in these demons, actually, he wants to fulfill his desire, he wants to encourage them, but eventually he wants them to reform. But when he sees that they are rejecting Lord Vishnu himself, then he removes this devotee from the heart. No longer is he under the protection of Lord Shiva. Therefore, whatever Ravana was doing was fruitless. And he was destroyed with his entire kingdom, entire family. So this is the effect which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to emphasize. But he says another important point, and this is very interesting. Lord Shiva does not reveal what is good and bad for someone, but one who has intelligence can understand. Why is that so? Why is that if somebody is worshipping Lord Shiva, he can, and if he's doing something wrong, Lord Shiva can tell him, no, this is not correct, and you should actually surrender to Lord Vishnu. Why doesn't he say that? What is the reason? Can anybody share? What is the reason? Why is the Lord Shiva does not reveal what is good or what is bad?
Because they are not yet ready to accept. They don't have the right.
That is also a good point. Yes. So they are demons and they believe they can become God. They are not ready to accept that there is a supreme authority and there is something good, something bad. So they are not that mature. So he doesn't try and, like they say, if somebody is not ready to receive it, don't preach to him. So from that perspective, Lord Shiva doesn't reveal. So that is good. Any other reason?
Yeah, Lord Shiva doesn't reveal, doesn't care about, like, he's Ashutosh. He just fulfill whatever you want, whether it is good for you, whether it is bad for you. He just fulfills your desire, but doesn't. But yes, those who go for Krishna Prem, he will bestow that too. So these demigods.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. So Lord Shiva, as a demigod, if you're doing certain penances, he will just reward. And if you're doing some things, he will give that punishment. But he's not, he's duty bound to give or not give, but he's not there trying to sort of tell you what is good or bad. If you've done certain penance, you get the results from that perspective. Right? But one who wants approach Lord Shiva for devotion, he directs him to Krishna, he directs him to Vishnu. And there are many devotees I've met, many people. Some of them have been very ardent followers of Lord Shiva. They've gone to very high states of penance, and then finally they were told, if you're going to do devotion, go to Lord Krishna. So this is also true. This is good. Anybody was saying anything else?
Lord Shiva carries out the plan of Vishnu so that, ultimately the demons get destroyed. Even if they are given what they want, their want or their desire leads to their destruction.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. So Lord Shiva knows the plan. The plan in the jail is that they will experience themselves. When they will do, there will be reaction and they will experience themselves what is good, what is bad. Right? And so he is just facilitating whatever they are doing. And if they are doing some penance, he's giving that benediction. But ultimately, by the result, they themselves will understand whether it is right or whether it is wrong. And also, Shiva, like you said, is very merciful. Sometimes that is why it is said he's wearing this skull and this and everything, to actually preach to the ghosts and the demons. So to preach to them, you have to appear almost similar to them so that they listen to you. And you have to somewhere, all of these demons are inimical to Vishnu. So he has to appear like he is not a servant of Vishnu. He appears like he is independent. And because of that, the demons approach them. And because of that, Lord Shiva is able to give them association. And because of that devotee association is why the demons can actually, if at all they can reform, they can reform. Without that association, no other people are ready to give them association. Without that association, it's very difficult to reform. So Lord Shiva takes up this entire conceit of appearing like the Supreme and appearing like somebody who is easily pleased and who will support them in their activities and grant them material benefits to actually help preach to them. So he does not always go there and dictate, hey, don't do this, don't do that, do this is good, that is bad. No, he doesn't try to tell them that. but the reactions of their own actions they realize. But if he's a devotee, like the Prachetas approach Lord Shiva, then Lord Shiva gives the complete secret of who is Supreme Personality of Godhead and how should you approach. But because they are not intelligent, the materialists cannot understand this, and they believe Shiva is independent, and so they do many things. Some people say that I am Shiva's devotee, Shiva is supreme, I don't believe in Lord Vishnu. Some of the people blaspheme Vaishnavas, saying you don't accept Lord Shiva and so on. Because Vaishnavas understand Lord Shiva, they accept him as the supreme Vaishnava. But they blaspheme Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu. And when they do like this, then they lose all their merit. Now, why are we giving this background? Because in the next few slokas, this is explained in the context of Chaitanya Leela. In the context of Chaitanya Leela, it is here explained, Yei mata advaitera chitana bhujiya vulayam advaita bhakta chaitanya nindiyam. In this way, people blaspheme Lord Chaitanya while claiming to be devotees of Advaita, without understanding Advaita's heart. This is the important point. If you understand Lord Shiva's heart, you can understand the purpose and how he is satisfying the desires of Lord Krishna. But without understanding Lord Shiva's heart, if you just take pride and say Shiva is the supreme, Shiva is the supreme, Shiva is not very happy about it. न बले अद्वैत किचु स्वभाव कारणे न धरे वैष्णव वाक्या हमारे बल माने. Due to his nature, Advaita does not say anything. But one who does not accept the statements of Vaishnavas is certainly ambushed. So here it is clearly stated, Advaita Acharya is acting like the chief of the Brahmanas. He is acting like the elder person, right? And he is acting almost like authority. But if somebody believes he is a greater authority than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or he is supreme and does not accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or the Vaishnavas, then such a person is definitely vanished. Yahara prasade advaitera sarva siddhi ena chaitanyere kichu na jane shuddhi. Such a person does not know the glories of Lord Chaitanya, by whose mercy Advaita has all perfection. If Advaita Acharya has perfection, or Sadashiva has perfection, these perfections are actually due to the mercy of Krishna. This is again revealed in Brihad Bhagavatamrita also. When Gopakumar approaches and he goes beyond, and he is in the Brahmajyoti, and in the Brahmajyoti he starts go beyond and he sees Sadashiv Loka, he sees Lord Shiva riding in the bull, and Parvati ji is also there, and Ganesh is coming in front. It seems like he is the supreme person beyond the Brahmajyoti. He starts to pay obeisances. Then Parvati indicates to Lord Ganesh, and then Lord Ganesh explains to him that this is Lord Shiva, he appears like supreme, but actually you are a devotee. You should go beyond this place to Vaikuntha. And the Vishnu Dutas are here, and they are coming. They are coming to take you. They are coming there, and these are actually the personal. Then you go to Vrindavan from them. But Lord Ganesh also shows, see, these are the Vaishnavas. You look at this universe. You look at this universe. He's pointing to different universes. And he shows that, look, these Vaishnavas are jumping into the universe to preach. And here, Gopakumar sees that different Vaishnavas are jumping into different universes and taking the preaching body to preach. These are actually liberated souls who are actually, or Nityasiddhas, who are serving Lord Vishnu or Krishna, but they go back into the material world universe to preach. And they are specifically there to deliver the fallen souls. And if the fallen souls are not listening to those Vaishnavas and they concoct their own idea of who is God, then they are certainly going to be vanquished. Yahara prasade advaitara sarva siddhi hena chaitanya kichu na jane shuddhi. Such a person does not know the glories of Lord Chaitanya, but by whose mercy Advaita has all perfection. And this is something there it is revealed. Iha balite aise dana Dhana maribare, aho maya balavati ki bali batare. As soon as we declare this, people rush to beat us. Alas, how powerful the illusional energy is. What can we say to them? And this happens because the materialists are very much attached to the fact that their desires are getting fulfilled. And that if I have to, there are two ideas. One is my desires have to get fulfilled. Second, I want to become God. All are Bhagavans. And they see Lord Shiva as the source of both of this. Right? And that is why the Mayavadis concoct this theory that by worshipping Shiva, I become Shivoham. I become like Shiva and I become God. Right? That is their very strong desire. And Shiva is Ashutosh, so he satisfies all the things. So because of these two fundamental material desires, they have great material attachment to Lord Shiva. Not real devotion, but material attachment. And if somebody says Lord Shiva is not the supreme person, then these two fundamentals are shaken for. What? Lord Shiva is not supreme person. You mean I cannot become God? And I cannot fulfill my desires by worshipping Shiva? No, I don't accept this. Whoever says that, and this is said in Bhagavad Gita, right? If your desires are stopped, then next is anger. So they become angry towards Vaishnavas. They blaspheme Vaishnavas and they want to beat them up. Right? That is how powerful this illusion is, that they can actually become God or they can be happy in this material world. If you look at Bhagavad Gita in the 16th chapter, 23rd verse, you will see that it is clearly written that if you have this demoniac propensity and you are trying to enjoy, you can neither achieve any siddhi, that is, your work will not have fructification, you will not have happiness, and you will not have paramam. You will not get the supreme destination. These three things are very clearly seen. If you are having this demoniac mentality, whatever you are trying in this world will not get succeed. You will not get siddhi. You will neither get happiness, sukh vidhi, and neither will you reach the supreme destination. But despite all of their specific actions being baffled, people hold on to this entire mentality that I can become God, and Lord Shiva is the supreme person, and by worshipping Lord Shiva, I can, because he is the husband of the illusionary energy. So if I worship him, then I can become supreme, is their conception. Or I can merge into Shivoham and become God. These conceptions are there. भक्त राज अलंकारा यह नहीं जाने, अद्वैत प्रभु गौर चंद्र नहीं माने. They do not know Advaita Prabhu is the ornament and king of the devotees. They do not accept Gaurachandra as the Lord of the world. So they will not even accept when you say Lord Shiva is the supreme Vaishnava. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Nimnaganam yata Gang. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. No, they will not accept. No, you Vaishnavas are trying to reduce Lord Shiva to be a devotee of Lord Vishnu. No, we don't accept that. Bhakta Raja, he is the ornament of and the king of devotees. Vaishnavanam yata, he is the supreme Vaishnava. Why? Because Lord Shiva embodies the desire of Krishna, the desire of Radharani is to deliver all these souls. And Krishna has already said in Bhagavad Gita, one who preaches this message is very, very dear to him. And how does Lord Shiva preach? He preaches, of course, we are preaching among devotees or some Kali Yuga materialist people, but he goes to the demons, he goes to the ghosts, he goes to the graveyard to preach to the goblins. And even being a Vaishnava, he takes the form and appearance like some of those ghosts and goblins to give them mercy, to preach to them, right? If you ask any of preach, yes, we will all like to preach in the temple or in some place. If you are told to go and preach among the demons, that is a very difficult. And to take that pain, Vaishnava cannot stand even for a second any blasphemy of the Lord. and to be actually be revered as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and then go and preach. That is a very difficult thing. Which is why he came as Advaita Acharya, so that he can correct these and he can actually show to the world that, look, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he got kicked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to show to the world that the actual heart of Krishna, he's revealing the heart of Krishna, that Krishna does not like this Mayavada philosophy. So they do not understand this heart of Advaita Acharya, and they do not know that he is the king of devotees because he is serving the most intimate preaching requirements of Krishna. And they don't know that actually Gaurachandra or Krishna is the Lord, and his desire is being followed by Advaita. So, पूर्वे ये आख्ये न हैला से सत्य हया ताहे ते प्रतीत यारा nahi तारा शयाम. Whatever I have described so far is true. Anyone who does not believe these statements will be vanquished. Yata yata sunayara yata keda badani chaitanya seva haite ara kichunai. Whatever glories you hear about the devotees are all due to their service to Lord Chaitanya. This intimate relationship is something a devotee and also a non-devotee has to realize. And a devotee always gives credit to his guru or to the Lord for anything he does, because he knows that he is only a part. If the part is acting, it is because of the energy of the whole. And it is only by the mercy of Krishna coming through the mercy of Guru that one is able to say anything or do anything. But so all the devotees are acting so wonderfully because of their service to Lord Chaitanya, and because of the service they are connected. And because of that, they are having all these powers, all these wonderful impact. But without that, they cannot, they are not separate. And this point is very important. In the purport, it is also described that some of these, and this is a very important comparison between Krishna Leela and Chaitanya Leela. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared, there are many, many people who also claim to be personal family of Advaita Acharya, who started disregarding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were preaching that Advaita Acharya is the supreme. And because we are family members of Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya is Mahavishnu or Sadashiva, and we are family members of Advaita Acharya Mahavishnu, what we are saying is actually the right philosophy. So actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was junior, he was younger, and the Leela also he was younger. So they say that he is junior to Advaita Acharya, and he used to listen to Advaita Acharya, so Advaita Acharya was the supreme. So like this, Apasampradayas started to manifest. Now, the question arises that if somebody is the family of the Lord, right, the same family as the Lord, right, you like Brajavasis, right, Dwarkavasis and all, they're families of the Lord. Should we not accept their statement as true? Will we reject the statements of Brajavasis? Will we reject the statements of Dwarkavasis? So if the family members of the Lord are speaking, should we accept or should we not accept those statements? What is the opinion?
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary. Why is that not necessary? What is the reason? Or other question is, what will you accept them?
What will
I
you?
agree. What will you accept? If you're not going to accept, what is your criteria for accepting?
Two things. The absolute knowledge should come from the absolute authority, or it should come from the representative who's representing the absolute authority. So not just a family relationship counts as being the absolute.
Yes, very nice. So this is correct. And this has been illustrated in which Leela of Krishna? Which Leela of Krishna illustrates this?
Govardhan Leela.
Okay.
Marshal Leela.
Marshal Leela, yes. In the Marshal Leela, if you read 11th canto Bhagavatam, it is very detailedly explained that, of course, the Lord thinks that I have actually destroyed all the burden of this universe, but my own family members are Yadu members are there in this planet. Of course, Yadu dynasty consists of demigods who have come and playing the role. It also consists of his own eternal associates, great devotees who have attained that platform. So there are all of these are constituents of the his family members. But he sees that because of familiarity with Lord Krishna, some of them are not very favorable to his plan. We have read about Satrajit and Chamanta Kamani and all of that. And some of them may act in ways which are actually against devotional service or might undermine the vision of Krishna. This is specifically true for some of the demigods who are descended, who, because of proximity to Krishna, sometimes develop some kind of a pride. So he wanted the entire dynasty to be annihilated and his
Can't hear you, Prabhu.
Sorry? Hello?
You got stuck when you said the Yadu dynasty to be annihilated.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So he decided the Yadu dynasty to be annihilated because he saw that some of these people, though family members, are, because of familiarity with Krishna, sometimes might act different to his plan. This is especially true for demigods who are, sometimes because of the proximity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they think that they become almost on the same level as level as Krishna, and sometimes they might act improperly. And he was particularly concerned that the people will say that these are family members of Krishna, so we should accept their authority. So to specifically destroy this and also to send his eternal associates back to Goloka, Vishnu Tattvas back to their respective position, and the demigods were taken back to the demigod planets, he decided to destroy the entire Yadu dynasty. In the purports, Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj comments, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj says that this is also true in Chaitanya Leela. That is why in Chaitanya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not have any children or any descendants. Even Nityananda Prabhu did not care for his two sons, his sons. And Advaita Acharya also, only few of his sons were actually devotees. So like Mataji said, the real criteria is who is really devoted to Krishna, who is in the parampara, and who is working according to the plan of Krishna. Those are the people we follow. Not people who claim to be descendants of the family of one of the Vaishnavas or the Lord. Just because they are family doesn't make them authorities. And this point was debated for 200, 300 years before Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj completely, destroyed this entire Sahajiya philosophy. This Apasampradayas who claiming to be descendants of Nityananda Prabhu or Advaita Acharya and therefore declaring themselves to be Goswamis, but sometimes even not following the basic devotional principles. So here, this is established, especially that if somebody claims that Advaita Acharya, we are followers of Advaita Acharya, is said in the purports, and they disregard Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they claim to be authorities, then we should not believe these statements. Sometimes these people have changed the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and given some other mantra, chant Nityananda, Gaura, then Hare Krishna, something they have mixed up, right? And many such apasampradayas are there. I'm not wanting to point out anything in particular, but in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, you can see all this Agul, Bigul, and all these different apasampradayas, and their descriptions can be read. But here it is specifically warned that if somebody starts following, and I know some devotees, they say, especially in Odisha, many other places, they say, oh, this person is actually descendant, so I will take initiation there, and I will not take initiation in ISKCON. We don't know ISKCON, but those people are actually family members. That is not the right criteria. It was, in fact, the purpose it is said that if any of those family members or anybody, they blaspheme Vaishnavas, and that is exactly what Krishna proved. Krishna got his own son Samba, right? And he blamed Vaishnava, Narada Muni, and all the other sages. All the other sages were not family members of Krishna. But the moment they did an offense against Vaishnavas, immediately that entire family was apparently vanquished. So he wanted to show, even if you are my family member, but if you offend the Vaishnavas, then you will be vanquished. And that is what is shown here. And in the Mahaprakash Leela, when Advaita Acharya is asked what benediction you want, he says, you give me whatever is the best supreme benediction. As Lord Vishnu, he is giver of liberation. He does want to pray for liberation. But he knows that Krishna himself has come, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself has come, and he can bestow the most supreme benediction, which is Krishna. So he just says, what is the best supreme benediction, you please bestow it. So hence, understanding, this is the 2-3 things we spoke about. Understanding the heart of Lord Shiva or Advaita Acharya, which is to please Lord Krishna, and the most confidential service of preaching to the atheists and assuming the apparent external position as if they are the supreme. These are very intimate and internal things of the heart of Lord Shiva and Advaita Acharya. If somebody does not understand those, and one is not intelligent, cannot understand the internal heart of Advaita Acharya, and sees the externalities and believes that Advaita Acharya is in the same level or greater than Lord Chaitanya, then he's first of all going to lose the mercy of Advaita Acharya, exactly as Ravana lost the mercy from Lord Shiva. And many other Banasur, we have seen many people, the Kashi Raj, who were apparently devotees of Lord Shiva, but were destroyed by Lord Krishna because they were acting offensively to Lord Krishna. Then those people are going to get vanquished. And the Acharyas also explained that in the same spirit, if somebody claims to be family members of Advaita Acharya or so on and so forth, we need not actually follow them, but we follow bona fide Vaishnavas who are following the 4 regulative principles, who are doing service, who have taken initiation in bona fide sampradaya, and whose whole purpose in life is serving. And this has been more than exemplified by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. In his entire life, it was his true desire was to see that when I go to Prabhupada, what will I tell? He was always meditating on that. And in his life, you could see the urgency, the supreme urgency, which Prabhupada also displayed, that within a short period of time, he preached all over the world, and he knew exactly that that preaching is very urgent. Because every second, the conditioned souls are further falling down. And Radharani is anxiously awaiting for the return of these souls. So, Srila Prabhupada understands the heart of a mother. She can't wait even 1 second for the son or the children to come back, right? Understanding that mode and urgency, Srila Prabhupada used to preach as if, not even wasting a single time, avyartha kalat. That is just in the bhava state, but beyond. And Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj used to embody that entire spirit of urgency. Whenever somebody met him, and I met him, anybody has met him, you could see the urgency in completing the temple, urgency to distribute books, urgency to And his vision used to be always very big. One time we were discussing, I did some false humility, and he was explaining how you should preach all over and the entire Bhagavad Gita should spread and all of that. You should take a room, you should take a big hall. And in some false humility, I said, Maharaj, and he said, you should become big preacher, something like that, he said. And then I, in my false humility, said, Maharaj, no, I just want to be a servant. I just want to do some small service. And he immediately, he was not pleased. He said, Srila Prabhupada said, think big. Because this is not for oneself, this is for the service of Krishna. So think big and execute it urgently. That was his mood. And that is the mood and spirit of somebody who's looking to fulfill the desire of Krishna to preach. And that is what Advaita Acharya was looking to do. He said, nobody but Lord Krishna himself, you come and you deliver this entire universe. His plan was not small. And he was urgently calling, please come right now. Because they understand the urgency of that entire matter. These are intricacies of the heart of Advaita Acharya. And if one does not understand that and thinks of him as the supreme person, higher than Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he will certainly be vanquished. So this is one of the conclusions of the Mahaprakash Leela, and especially with respect to Advaita Acharya, which we have been very fortunate to read. And these points which the Acharyas have made of Lord Shiva following the desires of Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desires being followed by Advaita Acharya, and not be influenced by these Apasampradayas and so-called relatives of Advaita Acharya, are very important matters in our progress of spiritual life, so that we can actually attain the supreme benefit of Krishna. Thank you very much. I will end here, and if there are any offenses, I'll pray to the Vaishnavas. Kindly correct and forgive. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, you can ask them, or any comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhu, and for reminding us again and again how we should be very, very careful for not doing any while dealing with Vaishnavas. We should not try to do any offense. Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much. Prabhuji, I am just requesting everyone, if they have any realization or any questions, then please unmute themselves and please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very, very interesting class. A couple of things that stood out to me was when you were speaking about...
Sorry, I'm not able
to... can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when you were speaking about... two things that really stood out to me today was when you were speaking about how the apparent demigod worshippers, or sometimes those who consider Lord Shiva as the supreme, get offended is two things. One is the coming to the realization, if someone tells them, okay, Shiva is not the supreme, two reasons why they're getting offended is, one is because they cannot become God, because it is mostly the concept of Shivoham that they believe in. And secondly, their material desires, that are you telling that Lord Shiva cannot satisfy their material desires? So I thought those were very deep realizations. And the other thing that was interesting is Advaita Acharya, we all know the pastime of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu getting angry with Advaita Acharya and kind of punishing him physically, because Advaita Acharya was speaking from Yoga Vasishta. But the heart of Advaita Acharya is truly that he is... he was the one who was trying to find reasons, bhakti purports for all the Bhagavad Gita verses. So that contrast was very nice. I did have a question though, based on the first realization, which was very, very interesting. isn't this also the same reason why even Lord Krishna worshippers have they are seen in a different sense by others? They are seen to be very egoistic. And it appears that we also, to a great extent, have similar thoughts, like it's more of the ego that is in place, that you mean to say I am wrong. Isn't that actually more prominent even among the so-called worshippers who are calling themselves Vaishnavas? But real Vaishnavism, as you mentioned, is coming to the platform of goodness, but it appears that most of us are mostly fanatic. This is how the world perceives us too. So how would you probably logically counteract that thought?
Yes, if I understand that question correctly, you're saying 2-3 things. One, you're saying, is it not that some of the worshippers of Lord Krishna are also sometimes having this pride, and sometimes they say, are we wrong? And they have this pride. Second, and so they are also fanatic that I will only worship Krishna, I will avoid Shiva or whatever, or the demigods and so on and so forth. And also, hence, how would you logically refute this argument that it is actually pride in some of the so-called devotees, which is driving them from that perspective? Is that a correct understanding of the question?
Yes, that is correct, because my observation, including myself, is that am I really interested only in Krishna Prema, right? So I'm speaking for myself, for example. I have a pride that I know this is correct because I have read the books. So if someone tells me if Krishna is not the supreme, then it's the matter of my personal pride that comes in to defeat the other person. Am I really thinking that, oh, this is the only path that really gives you Krishna Prema, and I'm after only Krishna Prema? I'm not. I know that very well. So I feel it's a lot of hypocrisy, genuinely. So how would we clear this? So help me out.
Yes, very nice question. Thank you for this. So this subtle distinction between love and or pride of love, or the love of the pride, this is a very subtle distinction. Are you having that pride because of your love, or do you love the pride that you are actually worshipping the Supreme Personality of God?
Exactly.
Now this happens. This is a very subtle thing. So, for example, and this also, when you're talking to a mother, if the mother says, my child is the best child in the world, then generally we tend to agree, right? Because we see the love of the mother and we say, yes, your child is very fantastic. There is nobody like him or her, right? That's how usually we respond, because we see the love. But if you hear the same mother saying, my child is the best, the child next door, your child, this child here, they have so many faults, they are not good, they are this thing, but my child is like that, then you suddenly realize it's not just the love, it is the pride that this is my child which is speaking, right? That
Yeah, it is a right. His one.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that subtle distinction of whether it is the love, and if one person who has love in the heart will certainly see the person whom he loves as the best, right? And then because of that, there will be some pride, which is actually spiritual. For example, when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was speaking in one of the lectures, and I might be quoting slightly differently, so please refer to the lecture. He said this, that when we are speaking to the Vaishnavas, sometimes the Vaishnavas say Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of God. And sometimes they will say Narayana is the Supreme Personality of God. And when we are generally conversing with the Vaishnavas, we tend to, if somebody says Jai Shri Ram, we respond with Jai Shri Ram. We don't at that point in time, and that does not mean that we don't believe Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. We are trying to reciprocate the love of that particular Vaishnava.
Mm.
Right? At the same time, that Vaishnava comments that sometimes jokingly Vaishnavas want to hear the glories of Lord Krishna, so they sometimes poke the devotees of Krishna. They say, sometimes Vaishnavas do this conversation. Vrajavasis also do this conversation. They say, what your Lord Krishna is just, going around with cows. He's just stealing. He's not like Lord Narayan. He's the supreme. So sometimes they in that, but their mood is to hear more glories of Krishna. Right? Understanding those subtleties, a Vaishnava responds. And sometimes he responds taking anger. He says, no, Lord Krishna. These are joking debates. Right? But if somebody tries to say your guru was wrong, your sampradaya is wrong, and this is what it is, then he senses the pride and he answers according to that pride. Now, when we apply this on ourselves, which was your question, some of us are, let's just say this. Do you love Krishna because he is the Supreme Personality of God? What if Krishna is not the Supreme Personality of God? Then my entire devotion becomes, oh my God, I want to only worship the Supreme. And you're saying Krishna is not the Supreme Personality? Oh my God. But the gopis, for them, it just didn't matter whether Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's Bhagavan, not Bhagavan, doesn't matter. It's just that I love, right? I love Krishna. So that level of devotion is a maturing, evolving stage. We cannot expect everybody to be in that pure devotional stage. Initially, when we start, generally when material people start getting attached to Krishna or to the Lord, then they usually try to superimpose their ego onto it, and that is how they start the first relationship.
Right.
They start the first relationship because he is the supreme, or because he's the most beautiful, or just like, sometimes Prabhupada used to, just because he has so many girlfriends, so I want to be with they're just superimposing their ego and trying to form a connect. But the difference between that connect with Lord Shiva and that connect with Lord Krishna is that when you come into that connect with Krishna, that pride that is refined, it becomes purified, and you start getting attracted to the beauty of Lord Krishna, to the pastimes, the glories, the name, fame. And as you are getting attracted, and this pride and everything starts to diminish. And finally, when you start to taste some sweetness in Ruchi, then your heart gets overwhelmed. And then you say that, I don't care whether this person is supreme person or not, and whatever, I don't know. I just Krishnat param kimapi tattvam aham na jaan. Vamshi vibhushita karan navanidharabha Pitambara taruna bimba spalodarushtat Purnendra sundara mukhad Ravinda netrad Krishnat param kimapi tattvam maham na jani. Those four qualities of this Madhurya, the Venu Madhurya, the Rupa Madhurya, the sweetness of that form attracts so much that he transcends this entire thing of whether he is God or not God. I am just attracted. But we cannot expect everybody to come to that situation initially. So your analysis is very correct. One has to look into the heart and say, just because I want to be in the party of the supreme person, is that why I am loving him? And am I being fanatical in my pride that when some other people, even if they are Vaishnavas, they are expressing, if some mother is expressing the love towards her child, we are not trying to get into a debate to say, this is not your child is not the best, my child is the best. No, we just recognize the love and reciprocate. That's what Maharaj was saying, that all the Vaishnavas view the personality of God to whom they are most attached to as the supreme person. That does not contradict the fact that Krishna is the supreme person. Krishna is the supreme person because it is with his desire everything is happening. But if you talk to Sri Vaishnavas, they say Narayana is the supreme person. Within Sri Vaishnavas, you speak to Ramanandis, they say Sitaram is the supreme person more than Narayana. you speak to the Vallabhacharyas and everything, they will talk about, the Madhvas will talk about the Sakya Bhava, right? Dwarkadish. And then Gaudiyas will talk about Vrajendra Nandan Krishna. So they do see, and we do recognize that love. We acknowledge it, but if there was, and there is no impartial, there is no person who's impartially who can judge that. But if at all there was an impartial person, they would certainly conclude that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is what has been concluded in Bhagavatam and been elaborated in Brihad Bhagavatamrita as the two truths, which is A, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the devotees who love Krishna attain the supreme destination, the supreme separate planet of Golok Vranda. And the gopis are the topmost devotees of the Lord from that perspective. Does that answer that question?
Yes, Mother. Yes, Prabhuji. So the basis is that we do start with Shastra Gyan, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But eventually, we are to move to a point of just having that pure love, irrespective of who he is. I love him. So, and yeah.
So we use that yardstick to actually judge our love more than anything else.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much. Very, very, very interesting analysis. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any other questions, comments? Okay. We will end here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about such wonderful pastimes. And thank you for all the association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And Kirtida Mataji is also writing in chat box that thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the brilliant class today. Thank you. And we will look forward for your association again and again in the future also, Prabhu. Dear devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Pancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaisnavebhyo namo namo Koti Vaishnava ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Koti koti
Chaitanya
dandavat
Bhagavata ki
pranam.
jai.
Jai Srila
His
Prabhupada.
Grace Achintya Gopesh Prabhuji ki jai.
Ki
Thank you,
jai.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam. Very, very
Koti
nice
koti
class.
dandavat
Thank you.
pranam to your
Very
sincere
nice answer,
association.
Prabhuji.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji koti koti dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.